The Legendary Summoning event for February 2021 is here. We're getting back 8% 5-star focus rates, except this one is split 12 ways versus 8. The non-focus rate is set to 0% permanently, so any 5-star you get is going to be one of these 12 heroes. We'll be covering the new Legendary hero and talk about the other units and their skills on this banner briefly. While Legendary Dimitri and Brave Edelgard duke it out in a Hero Rises voting gauntlet, Legendary Claude's moment has arrived. Our first Legendary hero of year 5, and just like his fellow house leaders, Legendary Claude is still going to be a colorless archer, just like his Brave alt. Claude will also be an Earth Legendary hero with the Parrot mechanic, and he has that juicy BST boost. This time Claude is rocking his normal time skip attire and his Wyvern Master class. Brave Claude was already a very neat flying archer, and Legendary Claude is looking to be just as good, if not better. For his old skills, Claude comes with Luna as his special to pierce through those high defense units. He also has Speed and Defense Rain 3 as his C skill for those in-combat debuffs. For his weapon, Claude brings Failnaught to the party. It's a 14-minute bow with accelerate specials, and if Claude is above 25% HP, he gains +5 to all stats and the effects of no follow-up 3. That means he's going to neutralize effects that guarantee the foe's follow-up attacks and neutralize effects that prevent his own follow-ups. Honestly, very simple weapon. Claude just needs to be healthy for this weapon to be fully active, and it's going to get a basic all-on stat boost with the very good no follow-up skill, which flyers cannot normally use. It's a great ability against a lot of slower units who usually have built-in follow-up attacks on their weapons or skills, and it does mean that Claude can run the wind or water sweep builds that work for Byleth. I'm guessing Legendary Claude won't really deviate much from his Brave form, so I'm expecting very good attack and speed stats with an okay defensive spread. Generally speaking, just from Failnaught alone, he's already looking like a strong archer who just needs to win speed checks to take advantage of the no follow-up effect. What's going to add to Claude's effectiveness, or rather annoyance, is his unique Fallen Star B skill. If Claude initiates combat, he reduces damage from the foe's first attack by 80% during combat. After combat, Claude then gets the Fallen Star status, and he inflicts gravity on the target plus foes within 1 spaces of that target. The Fallen Star status is a brand new effect that states, for 1 turn during unit's first combat in player or enemy phase, reduce damage from foe's first attack by 80%. Basically, the Fallen Star B skill gives Legendary Claude 80% damage reduction on 1 hit when he initiates combat. Afterwards, he gains the Fallen Star status, which will then reduce another first hit by 80% again. The wording seems a bit weird, but I don't think you can dance Claude and have Fallen Star stack with the status part of its effect, because Claude already needs to have fought to even get the effect in the first place. However, after getting danced, the first portion of the skill is still going to be active. It's not restricted to the first combat in player phase. Essentially, the first part always gives Claude 80% damage reduction whenever he initiates combat, and the second part will be active on the enemy phase, which gives him a stronger guard bearing ability basically. Now, the crazy thing about this B skill is that 8% damage reduction is a lot, as we've all learned by now, and I definitely feel like it allows Claude to fight archers, assuming he only takes 1 arrow. Even if an archer could deal 100 damage to Claude thanks to fly effectiveness, Fallen Star would reduce that down to 20 damage, which Claude can definitely tank. I would say Legendary Claude won't necessarily need Iote's shield, which can be really good for a Flyer Emblem team comp since you can save it for someone else. Thanks to no follow-up from Failnaught, Claude can't get cheesed by quick riposte type skills, so against slower units, he won't even get hit twice. He's going to be very annoying to take out if you can't outspeed him, and we haven't even mentioned the gravity status he applies as well. Ideally, Legendary Claude's going to initiate combat, he gets 80% damage reduction on the first hit, and he's going to retain that ability on the enemy phase, plus he has now inflicted an AoE gravity on the enemy team. Locking down mobility against a Flyer Emblem team, especially ranged flyers, is very powerful, and in a standard arena fight, I'm sure you do not want to let Claude initiate against you first. That said, Fallen Star does have some weaknesses. If you reach Claude first, Fallen Star is not going to be active, so no damage reduction at all. It won't stop the extra damage against a Brave Bow user since their second arrow is not going to be affected. Additionally, any archer with Deadeye literally does not care about Fallen Star, with Shinon being the prime counterexample since Claude hits him once, charges Deadeye up for him, and Shinon just blasts him away on the counterattack. With dual Leif and Thracier having a damage reduction reducing ability, we could see more of that later as well. Regardless, Claude's still going to be a very annoying unit to face off against. Legendary Claude does have 1 new inheritable skill, and it's a brand new tier 4 skill at that. Attack and Speed Catch 4 is completely new and states at the start of combat if foe's HP equals 100% or if penalty is active on foe, grants +7 attack and speed during combat. If the foe's HP is 100% and a penalty is active on the foe, grants an additional +2 attack and speed on top. So in normal combat scenarios, this catch skill grants a stupid easy +7 attack and speed just for fighting a full health foe. If the foe is hurt but has a penalty on them, then it will also activate. However, if both the 100% HP condition and the penalty condition are fulfilled at the same time, then you get an extra +2 for a total of +9 attack and speed. An interesting new A skill addition. Obviously this benefits teams that can apply debuffs before combat, and you're hoping for the 1-round KO, or you're going to want another way to keep debuffs on the enemy like with smoke skills. For Claude, Fallen Star also applies gravity, so he can apply a penalty himself, and this guy is getting 80% damage reduction while making it harder for multiple enemies to gang up on him afterwards. Tack on +7 or +9 attack and speed with his Rain C skill, and Claude is for sure going to be one strong archer. Overall, Legendary Claude is probably going to be another deadly flying unit. You want to reach him first, otherwise he gets Fallen Star's damage reduction, and that can spell all kinds of problems for you. With that open Sacred Seal slot, something like Aerobatics or Flare Formation is going to open up his attack options, which is what Claude wants to do. Additionally, with Fallen Star's damage reduction abilities and just the general strength of no follow-up on Failnaught, I'm sure he would make for a decent close counter user like his Brave form. I don't think it's the best choice since Fallen Stars is not active if Claude does not initiate first, but Failnaught provides a lot of power thanks to the overall stat boost and no follow-up again. If you cannot outspeed Claude, he's probably not going down. It's not going to be fun to run into a Legendary Claude if he has some backup dancers on his team. So far looking like a very good unit. Moving on, let's talk about the 11 other heroes on this banner. In the red group, we have Altina, Legendary Seliph, and Hrid. Blue has Naga, Legendary Young Tiki, and Melady. For green, it's Triandra, Hel, and Annette. Last joining Claude in Colorless is Mila and Legendary Leif. Leading off is Mythic Altina. She's a flying sword unit and an Astro Mythic hero. Altina has low speed but high attack and defensive stats because her Ragno Alondite combo is a distant counter dual phase brave weapon. Extremely strong, and she has her own Twin Blade special, which is on a 2 cooldown and deals 40% of her res stat. Additionally, it ignores damage reduction skills, which is something that is very valuable. Rishiro's chosen A skill works similar to attack and defense solo while always being active near beast or dragon units, and it also lets Altina ignore flyer effectiveness. She then has Vantage and attack and defense Oath 3 for some self buffs. Great unit. Unfortunately, attack and defense Oath is pretty much her only solid fodder skill. Next is Legendary Seliph. He is a sword cavalier with low speed and very high attack. He's a much more defensive unit, and his virtuous Tearfing inflicts attack and defense debuffs while also giving Seliph 7 HP on hit. Combined with Holy Warrior's End, Seliph gets a stronger quicker post skill, and he can follow up immediately on the enemy phase. It's an interesting interaction. Seliph can tank a hit, then gets to attack twice while healing on each hit. With distant counter, he can do this against ranged threats, and he also has joint hone defense for extra buffs. A neat defensive sword cavalier with 2 great skills to inherit. Last is Hrid, another sword cavalier and another unit with low speed. Hrid's sword lets him make a follow-up attack and prevent a follow-up attack against foes with a penalty on them, and this makes him both a player phase and enemy phase threat. His Hrid's seal skill is like a chill debuff, and he also has distant counter, so in rare situations, Hrid can be a strong cav himself. The red group has some slower sword users, but we also have double distant counter skills. Joint hone defense and attack and defense oath aren't bad either, but not the most amount of flexible fodder options in this group. For the blue group, we have Mythic Naga, another Asterisk Mythic hero, and a Flying Blue Dragon. She's basically the anti-dragon unit you can bring to fight off Seros because Naga's Divine Fang gives any ally dragon effectiveness. For every ally with dragon effectiveness, Naga is going to get stronger with Divine Breath, but she doesn't offer much besides stats for herself if the enemy team doesn't have any dragon foes. She does have an Aether Raid's offense skill, but those are kind of janky because they depend on how many structures you can destroy, and that's not a reliable method. Her other skills are Chill Speed and Luna, so kinda not the best fodder skills at all, unfortunately. Not the most exciting unit, but Naga is not a bad Astro Mythic if you need some extra firepower against Seros. Next is Legendary Young Tiki. She's a blue armored dragon with a ton of stats and is quite fast as well. Her Divine Mist Breath is also effective against dragons and gives Tiki distant counter. She has Fierce Breath for faster specials on the enemy phase, and Bolt Fighter gives her a follow-up attack with better special charging on the player phase. Her With Everyone C skill is basically a joint hone defense and joint hone res skill combined, making Tiki and her team even tankier. Very strong unit if you can't get around her do effective weaknesses. Last is Melady, a flying lance unit. She has a ton of attack and defense with okay speed because Melady is the only holder of the Wyvern Flight, which is the defense version of Pegasus Flight. Really hoping we get Wyvern and Pegasus Flight more because these skills are way too niche to be so rare. Melody does have the Instant Lance Plus, which is basically a mini sturdy impact weapon, bonus attack and defense, and prevent a follow-up attack when initiating. Her last major skill is attack and defense solo 4. Very nice selection of skills, and if you wanted to try out Wyvern Flight, then Melody is probably one of the best choices out of the box. For the green group, we have Mythic Triandra. He's a dark mythic hero and a green flying mage. Triandra is a dancer, and her Frightful Dream dance is like a Ruse B skill almost. She inflicts -3 to all stats and applies guard to enemies in cardinal directions from both herself and the ally she dances. Her Flower of Sword weapon also inflicts more defense and res debuffs in cardinal directions, and for a mode like Aether Raids, it's not so difficult to line up enemies. For her other skills, Triandra comes with 3 fantastic skills. Attack and Speed push 4 grants +7 attack and speed when above 25% HP. Aerobatics lets flyers warp next to nearby non-flying allies. Speed and Res Rain inflicts -4 speed and res, unfolds within 2 spaces, great for flying mages or dragons. Very solid unit even if you don't want to use her. Second is Mythic Hell, another dark mythic hero and an X flyer. Hell is a super fast flyer and her whole shtick is being incredibly annoying to kill. Her weapon accelerates specials and nullifies flyer effectiveness, plus against foes who do not use tomes or staffs, Hell calculates damage with res staffs and she will survive a fatal blow. Combined with guard bearing for 50% damage reduction on the first enemy phase hit and her inevitable death C skill, which is just a range skill for all stats, Hell is tough to take down. If you don't have a major healer, she can live any fatal blow and she could use the Mystic Boost Sacred Seal to keep on living. If you don't need guard bearing, Hell has distant counter, so she's a valuable unit either way. Last is Annette, who is an Axe infantry unit. Annette is a very potent support unit because her Crusher Axe grants +1 movement when she rallies an ally. It works on everyone except ranged cavaliers, so you can get a 4 movement melee cav storming at you. Crusher also has adaptive damage, so you can't fight Annette with a super low res stat. To complete her kit, she has Rally Attack and Speed Plus and Defense and Res Ruse. The Rally plus Ruse combo is super potent, and if you have a dancer with Crusher's extra movement, things can get extra nasty. Attack and defense gap will buff the ally with the highest attack and defense total. It's another decent buffing skill. The green group is definitely not bad at all. If you need some dark mythic heroes for Aether Raids, then here you go. And if not, you can get some amazing fodder skills from pretty much everyone. Last is Colorless. We talked about Claude already, but what about his fodder options? Speed and Defense Rain is obviously a great pickup for offensive physical damage flyers, but Attack and Speed Catch 4 is brand new. I'm pretty sure this is going to be its own skill line, so Attack and Speed Catch 1, 2, and 3 will also be needed. If this is somehow an offshoot of another tier 3 skill line, then you could get the Catch 4 skill with Speed and Defense Rain, and that would be some great value. Second, we have Mythic Mila, a light mythic hero and a colorless infantry dragon. Mila has superb defensive stats and is more of a support unit with survivability as her bonus. Her Nurturing Breath grants +2 to all stats for allies within a huge area around Mila, and Mila's turn will inflicts isolation on foes in line with her if they have less defense than her. It also grants 1 extra turn in light seasons when attacking. Isolation is very potent to stop dancers, but it can be worked around, and that's why you see Dancer out again with full defense staggering skills. To improve her own survivability, Mila has Brazen Stance 3, probably the best enemy phase taking skill that also comes with guard. She has Rally Defense and Perez Plus to buff allies further, and Savage Attack debuffs the enemies with less resistance. You can get Brazen Stance 2 from Conrad or Flame Emperor, so Mila can give you the tier 3 version, and you can also grab the Rally Plus buff or Sabotage Attack. Last up is Legendary Leif, a very dangerous cavalry archer. Leif has lots of damage and his bow is a dual phase brave bow. His Northern Zeal special is a 3 cooldown Gale Force. It does limit his movement to 1, but range units can't even learn Gale Force in the first place, so it's still a very powerful special. S-Drink is his unique B skill and grants -1 special cooldown and 99 HP on turn 1. For his fodder skills, Leif's gonna have attack and res push 4 for that +7 attack and res boost, and he has defense smoke, which is very effective with Northern Zeal. 3 movement brave bow archer is very scary, and Leif is a solid pickup if you can't get Claude. Obviously, Colorless is a great group, and it's a good time to try and get Legendary Claude. The bad part is that Legendary Claude comes right before the A Hero Rises Voting Gauntlet Brawl. Reminder, this Voting Gauntlet is going to give us a banner with the top 4 units, and is pretty much guaranteed to be extremely stacked. Luckily, we just need to get past round 1 to see who's going to be on the banner, so if you are short on orbs, I would wait a couple days to see how the banner turns out. It's stated to come sometime in March, so not a lot of time to save up orbs if you spend them now. After a month of anniversary banners, the Legendary Remix, the Double Special Heroes banner, and now the A Hero Rises event, Intelligent Systems unleashes their last 3 Houses Lord Legendary card. So much temptation this past month, so if you are gonna summon, then I wish you the best of luck. The A Hero Rises Voting Gauntlet starts the day after Legendary Claude goes live, I believe, and I wanted to talk about the 8 heroes participating. This year isn't as stressful because the top 4 get on a banner, so even if you don't get a free copy of the unit you want, you could still summon for them possibly. And this is going to include rare, limited time, seasonal, legendary, or mythic heroes. It's going to be a fun time, so of course Intelligent Systems wants to make you choose between that banner and the leader of the Golden Deer. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.